We've got a little adventure going here today. My good friend Reed Finlayson has these 2 incense cedar trees. The trees are snuggled up pretty close to that beautiful little old house. The one on the left is going to go without a fight. The one on the right is going to go whether he wants to or not. I had decided that I wouldn't do this anymore because it just wasn't perhaps worth the risk. But Reed's a good friend, and this is pretty doable. And besides, I'm getting old and I may not have a lot of opportunities to do these things, so we're doing it one more time. Fingers crossed.
I think I changed my mind.
You're welcome to. It'll make no difference in what's about to happen.
Timber!
We were shooting for a peg out here, and there was a bet on how tall it was. What were the guesses, boys? What were the guesses?
Oh, I don't know. We're gonna have to put together. Steve's was,
His was 76.
That's disgusting. It's 79 feet.
there you go. Here was my second guess. Once I got on
Had a distance pool, and yours was how much? 75.
75.
And yours was 76.
76.
And yours was 80, and mine was 87. And the grand total is 79 feet. Kudos to Rudy. There's a reason that beard is so long and bushy. Okay.
It's just plain wisdom, right?
That's right. But we didn't do too bad on the target. I mean, we were shooting.
Not bad, not bad at all.
That was my second guess. Right? As I stood out here and looked.
That's a good eye, Rudy.
Yeah.
That's a good eye.
Yeah.
There's a couple of reasons that I'm cutting the limbs off this tree. And they're both related to the fact that this house is so close, and this tree would do a lot of damage to this little old house if it were to get away from us and go backwards and lay over onto the corner of this beautiful little building. So that's something that we're not going to let happen, and in order to be absolutely sure that it's not going to happen, I'm cutting the limbs off about 2/3 of the way up, or lifting. It's called lifting a tree to prune it like this. And sometimes it's done to these cedars and firs around here just to increase the amount of sunlight that gets to the ground and change the look of your landscaping. You lift the trees or take those lower branches off. But that's not the reason today. The reason today is so that I can attach a cable about 2/3 of the way up and get a lot of leverage working against the weight of this tree that's wanting to fall backwards, so that my truck will have no trouble pulling it to the vertical position and then past vertical so that gravity will take it to the ground. So my uncle, Jim Wadsworth, and my dad used this gear a long time ago. I try not to think about whether or not leather would deteriorate over time. When I try to take it off, I think the leather's probably fine. Wow. I watch, what's his name? August Hunicke. He's got a great channel. And Daniel, what's his name? The real tree surgeon guys would have been done with this 45 minutes ago. What I've got is old school logging gear, which is fine for logging, but not great for an arborist. You probably noticed that I was using a chainsaw in close proximity to my lifeline, but the lifeline has a cable core. There's a 1/4-inch 7-strand steel line in the middle of that, so an axe blow or a chainsaw has a hard time getting through it. So that builds a little confidence when you're up there. Even though I was only up, what, maybe 35 feet,
It's still kind of scary. Anyhow, we've got a line in it. We're gonna take a strain, load it up real good to where the tree feels it, and then I'll put the face in, start the back cut in, and then just pull it over. We hope. These spurs are longer than linemen use. And frankly, on that incense cedar, I was wishing for a shorter spur. A spur that length is, good for old growth Douglas fir, or probably even a redwood tree. You got to get in there to where it's fairly solid, but that little second growth incense cedar was real grabby. It was hard to pull them out. These things are undoubtedly older than I am.
My equipment today on this little project is old school. This climbing gear is something that you'd never see on logging sites anymore. This little cable is known as straw line or hay wire, and it is really nowhere near strong enough for any actual logging application except for pulling in main lines and haulbacks on high lead shows. The pulley, this young 10-inch pulley, is an old school thing. It's not big enough to be a big one, and it's not small enough to be a small one, but it's just right for this. Now, even though I'm doing this in an old school way with old school equipment, it's reliable. It's going to work well. I know how to do it, and this tree is going to be on the ground in a few minutes. An arborist, a real arborist like Daniel Murphy, would climb this tree probably and take it down in pieces, lowering it with a rope. He would do it so fast and so safely with virtually no chance of a shipwreck, and it's really fun to watch him. But I don't know how to do that, and I don't have the gear, so I'm using what I've got to get the job done that's in front of us today.